Welcome back to this talk show. We are still celebrating the independence, Uganda independence is 60 years. My name is Dr. Joseph Tindeva. I appreciate Mr. Fred Makubuya who was taking us through the first session. And we continue with our guest this morning, whom we are blessed to be with as we celebrate the Uganda independence. And I'm happy to be with you, Mr. Julius Kapwepwe. I was sharing with you, I said you bear names which are attached to and tagged to the founders of the nation. While I do welcome you, it's a pleasure once again to continue the discussion and once again, greet the viewers as we talk about the journey of independence on the side of Uganda Revenue Authority. It's a pleasure to have you once again.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
My pleasure.
Thank you. So shortly we'll be going into another series of discussion, especially referring to the independence, Ugandan independence. We are very much covered under the independence in terms of governance. It refers also to the economic governance. And this way, we are mindful of how we have governed ourselves economically. And the economy cannot thrive without having an income. In most cases, we've heard about budget, the national budget, which in most cases briefly describes what the country earns or collects in terms of revenue and also expenditure. Last week, there was a special interview that was conducted between Mr. Fred Makubuya together with Abel Kagumili. And this is in charge of a commissioner in charge of single custom working with the URA. And it was referring to the journey of independence on the side of Uganda revenue. Mr. Julius, before we will be receiving that clip, would like to hear from you whether our governance economically will be driven the business best, especially in terms of what we earn. And I'm privileged to have you as a director, programs for Uganda Debt Network, and which is dealing with times whenever we are stuck, we say, let's go somewhere and borrow some money. What causes that? Why have we failed to govern ourselves economically to be self-sufficient economy that does not go into borrowing?
Yeah, thank you. Japan, Germany, the largest industrial powerhouse for Europe, for the Europeans, the United States of America, one of the largest economies in this world, arguably first or second. There are those who think China, there are those who think US is the biggest, have a lot of loans, a lot of debts. So does Uganda, so does Kenya, in our neighborhood here, so does Tanzania, and even individuals, you and I. So the point is, are you borrowing? Stop borrowing. Are you borrowing to invest into a Karuma bridge, a Karuma hydropower plant, in the case of Uganda, that enables you to generate sufficient electricity capacity for domestic use to power your economic development and have that production and increase the GDP that stops you from borrowing next round or not? I think for me is where as the Wazungu said, the catch-22 is. So borrowing is not the problem per se. Certainly Uganda Debt Network says borrowing is not the problem per se. East African Budget Network says borrowing is not the problem even for the regional infrastructural projects. But borrow, stop borrowing. Borrow to add value to your own economic functions. So in the case of Uganda, that's where we are coming from. So I think to answer your question, therefore, Uganda has had a positive, arguably, movement in the economic fortunes. So has the East African community and countries, say in COMESA, in Southern Africa, and many others, Zambia, Mozambique, and challenges notwithstanding. There has been gain, and therefore the reason good reason to celebrate or mark or reflect on our independence challenges notwithstanding. The governance aspect also touches on the economics. The extent of good, the quality of good governance gets us fortunes into economic success. If, for instance, there is turmoil, as we have seen in Somalia, you can't even talk about even having a shop, as an example. Talk about having a wheat milling machine, out of which then you would be able to realize exports into the neighboring countries, say for wheat or for maize. Even talk about taxes for the country. So when the aspect of governance also touches on the economics at the end of the day.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll be now going into receiving that clip and also refer to whether our revenue are promising, especially through the Uganda Revenue Authority. Stay tuned as we shall be just bringing that clip to you for review.
So, President, thank you for joining us. Once again, we discuss matters of tax collection in this country, and I'm joined by the Commissioner in charge of single customs, Mr. Abel Kagumile. Commissioner, thank you for joining us.
Welcome. Yeah, thank you. My name is Abel Kagumile, Commissioner for Customs, also in charge of the single customs territory. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for hospiting me on Smart TV.
Okay.
Smart TV.
Sometimes we take it obvious that people know your roles and responsibilities as URA. What are these?
Oh, Uganda Revenue Authority, of course, we exist every day. Every officer in every office in Uganda Revenue Authority, when they come, our mission is to mobilize revenue for national development.
Okay.
And want to do this in a transparent and efficient manner. Transparent means we want to be as fair as possible, and efficient, we want to make sure it is as fast as possible, so that people get out of our systems quickly and possible. Of course, the overarching vision and the bigger picture and our dream, why we are doing this, why we are mobilizing revenue, is to have an economically independent Uganda.
Okay.
And how do we get an economically independent Uganda? We want to be as transformative as possible as a revenue authority. Everything we do, we want to transform and do better, and do it better than it was yesterday. So we hope if we transform our revenue service, now we call it a revenue service. Why? Because we think the taxpayer is the most important person in this journey of economic independence. Because the Ugandan taxpayer, whoever is paying tax in Uganda, is the one who makes it happen. So how do we make this service so easy for that person, the taxpayer? So we want to transform our systems. We are bringing a lot of online services to make it easier for the Ugandan taxpayer, whoever pays tax in Uganda, to pay this tax.
You've talked about performance. This financial year started in July. How far have we performed?
Wow, so far so good.
Sure.
So far so good. We have been given a target of 25.2 trillion by Ministry of Finance. Quite high. Because last financial it was 22 trillion. Now it is 25. Usually we are used to an increment of 1 trillion. So in our heart of hearts, we knew Minister of Finance will give us a target of about 23 trillion. So, but the new Commissioner General, Mr. John Musinguzi Rujochi, accepted it and said, if I want to increase the tax to GDP ratio, then the targets have to increase. Good enough, he advocated for more staff, and they've given us more staff, about 600 staff, to support us in this journey.
Could the increase of staff be as a result of the increase of the target?
Partly, because you cannot increase the target when you don't give me the tools on how to do it. It could be partly that, but also the potential, how the economy is performing.
Okay.
Because the money comes from Ugandans and the economic activities in the country. So there is a lot of entrepreneurial skills that are taking place in the country. There is a feeling that now Ugandans have been sensitized to get involved in business. there is a feeling that now Uganda is getting into the cash economy. We are getting out of the subsistence economy. So when you look at all the projections, the Minister of Finance and the National Planning Authority think we can be at 25 trillion.
Okay.
They do their forecasting. So they gave us this target, gave us some tools to run with this target.
Okay.
So from July, we've been hitting our target. In August, we hit our target. In September, we have hit our target. Big surprise, but also not surprise for us who have been looking for it. We are seeing Ugandans, the compliance levels are increasing.
Day by day.
Day by day. Ugandans who used not to want to pay tax are now paying. They're on the tax register. All those people you used to see when we started, like for example, Kampala City alone. You find someone is paying Kampala KCCA. They are paying ground rent. They are paying trading license. But
property tax.
Property tax. But they are not paying URA taxes. So we said, how is this possible? You are the same Ugandan who is paying KCCA, but you are not one to pay government revenue. So we got all those people onto the tax register. Chikubo, Katwe, they are now on the tax register. They are contributing not much, but that small contribution has helped us in our journey. Our target is to reach 5 million taxpayers by the end of this financial year.
Okay.
Last financial year, our target was 2.5 million. We managed 17,000. But we are growing.
Slowly by slowly.
Slowly by slowly. So we'll get there. The more people getting on the tax register, becomes easier for you to make a contribution. It may not be much, but you don't burden the few. You don't burden the few, you also make a contribution.
Okay.
So that's I think what partly helped us to grow our revenue between the first quarter. We hope this quarter will also be good. It has started well. We are just 3-4 days, but at least there's some growth.
Great improvement.
Great improvement in revenue. But we want to thank Ugandans especially for changing the culture of non-compliance. Yes, it has been there, the culture of non-compliance. We see Ugandans now building trust. First of all, in government programs, how they are spending their money, because the result of transparency. They are trying to build trust in the projections, and they can project and plan their businesses based on how URA fixes the rates. Before we would keep the rates to ourselves, keep the information to ourselves. Now we've opened it to the public. You come and we tell you whatever you want.
Now, coming back to your department, which is single customs, how much have you collected, maybe in a short while? Oh,
the customs department has a target, an annual target of 9.74 trillion.
Isn't that too much?
It looks high, but we know we'll get there. We should get there, because we finished the quarter at 104%. So we have a surplus, 104%. And we're supposed, this month alone, every month we're collecting 766 billion. That's a lot of money.
It is.
It's a lot of money. And yet, you know, import duties keep reducing so that we look more into domestic revenue mobilization. So ideally, domestic taxes should be collecting more than customs. So that's how it is, and we are happy that we are at 104%.
Oh.
And we know this quarter will also go well, and we get there.
Commissioner, good enough your department connects dots with countries like Kenya, Tanzania, and many of those, especially East African countries. What is it that other countries are doing best that we are not doing as Uganda Revenue Authority, in terms of basically revenue collection?
Well, I don't think they are doing something extraordinarily different from us.
Because Kenya is hitting the target?
We are also hitting the targets. But maybe what what they could be doing that maybe we are not doing from the areas we have benchmarked, because we visited Kenya with our Commissioner General, Mr. John Msingzi. We visited Kenya, we studied their systems. What we found them doing that has been a game changer, which we have started here in Uganda, is their performance management. The way staff are adding value to the work they're supposed to do. If today they have given you 40 consignments to handle for the taxpayers, have you finished them? If you have worked on them, have you done them well? Is the customer, is the taxpayer satisfied? That's something we're not doing in the past, but we have started it, effective 1st July.
Okay.
Every day, every staff in URA has a target on what they're supposed to do. And we make sure we follow to make sure they have done it to their best. And that's what we picked mainly from there. And of course the others, like South Africa, where we also went, because we benchmark with those who are ahead of us. Kenya is a bit ahead of us. South Africa is ahead of us. So South Africa, their game changer has been digitalization.
Okay.
Everything is automated. So there's no way you can dodge tax. You pay. They can easily detect the next day that this one has dodged tax.
Okay.
Here it takes us some time to get to know that you are evading tax. We have to go through audits and all that process, but their processes, because they're automated, is so quick and fast to detect. And so it encourages people to become compliant.
Okay.
And which we came with, and we are rolling that out soon.
Maybe last but not least, just of recent through the Office of the Public and Corporates Manager, Mr. Bossa's docket, you have introduced a new scientific system, which I know this part to a great extent falls under your docket. What is it that this will add on URA as an organization?
Which one?
The scientific system of monitoring revenue.
Oh, the science lab.
The science lab.
Oh, the science lab is going to be a game changer. You know, the first thing is that it is ours and it has been accredited. So it is recognized. So all the time we would want to manage standards, we run to the UNBS lab. If you want to manage the tariff heading, we have to go to the analytical laboratory. You will find every Ugandan is going to those labs. So our products stay there for long. The longer they stay there, the longer you are delaying the taxpayer. So it is now the scientific lab, the laboratory is just with us. Product from a container to the lab, results out. Same day. And we clear you and you go. So it has helped us to fast track tax collection, especially in things which are difficult, which need laboratory. Food, preparations, fuel, liquid products, chemicals, they are now done from there. Steel, all those products, now we know the tariff headings and the taxes that they should pay. Now, because we did not have this lab, we just, how do you use the face to know now? The chemical composition of a product. Me as Abel. Now the lab has come handy to support us in that area.
Okay.
And it's going to be a game changer. It has in-house staff. We have not sourced anyone. We have recruited staff, scientists who are managing that laboratory. This is one of our best innovations that we have done at Uganda Revenue, and it's going to be a game changer. We allow even other people to use it when it's not busy.
Okay.
They can use it as long as they help to get quick results, and we support revenue collection.
It would be unfair for us not to talk about independence. 60 years, what is it that we learn? What is it that we ought to unlearn? And what is it that we ought to relearn?
For us, we have been in this. If you look at our core values, one of our core values is patriotism. And patriotism is not in just saying the word patriotism. The love for our country. And of recent, you have seen the president saying, when they came up with a policy on import substitution, It is partly explaining the issue of patriotism. The other day I was in a meeting with Kasita, and they were saying, how come for you are in a shirt which is not manufactured here in Uganda? Why don't you put it on? Now of recent, you see I put on.
And you keep on saying, buy Uganda, build Uganda.
Now I'm putting on Kaunda suit, at least manufactured by Nigeria. Manufactured by Ugandans. Mm. So we want to get there. We want to be proud of what is produced within Uganda. The more you do that, the more you are not donating money. Mm. The money remains here. You are encouraging local production. You are encouraging manufacturing factories to come and establish here. You are encouraging foreign direct investment. So in the process, we'll get where to tax. Mm. We'll get who will pay the tax. But every time you go to China and you bring that container, you do this, you come, you know you're donating money.
Okay.
That's in the long term. I am not saying we have built capacity where you want it. So for me, I'm happy that after 60 years of independence, we are becoming self-sufficient. We are seeing so many factories coming up. I visit Kapeka Industrial Park. I visit Mbale Industrial Park. You have been to Namamve. You have seen what is happening in Namamve.
Yes, we have.
It used to be a forest. It used to be a bush.
Now it's
at least you have seen it. Mm. You go there. We are struggling even where to pass. Traffic jam, trucks coming in. There is a lot of growth. Those are factories. Now, those are factories where Ugandans would go and find in China and buy products. Now, they have established here. So what is better? They come here, employ Ugandans. I don't think there is a factory there which employs less than 100 Ugandans.
So employs more.
Employs more.
Any regrettable areas as we plan to?
For me, I'm happy with Uganda's progress, especially
there's no area
from 1986 when we've been having peace and security. For me, I still think peace and security is very important. You have seen countries which are not at peace, how they are performing. You have seen Uganda before we got peace, how we were performing. Now that we have peace and security, we need to leverage on that. Leverage on that so that we attract as many people to do investment in Uganda.
Your final word?
My final word is that we celebrate with Ugandans. Let's embrace this. 60 years we have grown. 60 years we have grown. We are not young anymore. Let's look at how we can support each other. Let's get involved in business. Let's support revenue collection. Our request at Uganda Revenue Authority is that we are here to serve you. We are here to serve you. We request you to approach any of our offices. Our officers have been trained, have been guided to support you and serve you and give you a better service for revenue collection.
Okay.
We need you in this journey of economic independence of Uganda.
We must say also that we need you as URA, yes, as a country. Thank you, Mr. Abel Kagumire.
You're welcome.
For speaking to us. He's in charge of single customs here at the Uganda Revenue Authority. I must say, as Uganda celebrates 60 years of independence, it is important that we put emphasis on things that matter. My name is Fred Makubia, and this is Smart 24 TV.
Welcome back from that good review, and we continue with our discussion, but for a short while, we are going for a short commercial break, and we'll be coming back to analyze all that relating to the Uganda Revenue Authority progressive, journey that has been undertaken to improve on the income and the economy of the country. Thank you, stay tuned.